The legendary WWE Hall of Famer, Abdullah the Butcher, his WWE Hall of Fame ring is up for sale to the highest bidder. If you're interested, email me at radiotakedown@gmail.com.
This is a Say Saha Dynamite Productions. Live from my studios in Tacoma, Washington, I'm not only a proud member of the World Powers and a three-time UIWA North American Heavyweight Champion, also in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Magazine's Top 500, I'm the Beast from the Middle East, the Yemeni Maniac, the modern-day Sheikh, Diafullah, the Butcher, Dobashi, and your host of
Dobashi's Talk Show. No, Dobashi's Radio Takedown.
I love beating my opponents for my own and your entertainment, but now I'm entertaining you right here with special guests and talks on all combative sports and entertainment. After all, you do watch sports to get entertained, don't you? This is a soapbox for the people to speak on anything. If you need to settle a problem, you can do it right here, censored free. Let's ring the bell to start the show.
This is Friday, February 27th, 2015, episode 35. I am your host, Diafullah Dobashi, and thank you for downloading and listening to this podcast. I hope you all had a great week. Email me what you thought about WWE's Fastlane pay-per-view from Sunday at radiotakedown.com. Also, let me know who would you like to hear on the show or any issues you want me to cover. I haven't been this excited about a boxing match in quite some time. Mayweather versus Pacquiao. I think it's going to be very interesting. Let's see what's going to happen in the near future. There has been a lot of press going around about this new WWE injury lawsuit. It should be very interesting. I will be following this very closely. Matter of fact, we will have some very interesting and special guests pertaining to this lawsuit. Anyways, enough of me flapping my jaws. I will be right back with international superstars, WWE Hall of Famer, the madman from Sudan, Abdullah the Butcher, and one half of the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton. Did you know you could support this podcast by going to radiotakedown.com and click on the Amazon link? It's easy to do. See, when you go to our website, radiotakedown.com, and go to the Amazon link, and buy your stuff, this podcast gets a kickback, and it will help keep this podcast free to you listeners. The best thing about it, it doesn't cost you any more money to do it. So please, go to radiotakedown.com, hit the Amazon link to buy your stuff. There's even an Amazon Canada and an Amazon UK. Thank you for all your support, and that's radiotakedown.com.
To be a lion, you must train with lions. Go see Professor Michael Proctor at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy of Tacoma. For more information, go to 253bjj.com or call 253-426-8197.
We are back. I'm your host, Diafullah Dobashi. We have issues. We have an issue that's affecting a lot of people, and I'm honored that I'm helping to lead the fight. So I will let these guys take over and stand on this soapbox. I have international superstars and WWE Hall of Famer, the madman from Sudan, Abdullah the Butcher, and one half of the Fantastics, Bobby Fulton. How you doing, guys?
Very good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad we all got our time together, and the forum is yours to talk about this issue that's going on right now that's affecting a lot of the brothers and sisters in the industry.
Yeah, but...
All right. Go ahead, Abdullah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what I want to find out is this here. I've been in the business 52 years. I've made a lot of videotapes and stuff. And Vince McMahon bought them all up, but I'm not getting no royalties. I'm not getting nothing from them. And like at that time when we were making those tapes, a lot of the guys were just getting $10, and if they won, they wouldn't get nothing. You understand? So, Mr. Bobby,
yes, sir.
I'll let you finish it up.
And the thing of it is, Dobashi, and for everyone within earshot of my voice, but the problem is that when we done these televisions, They were infomercials. We were the product, meaning that we were featuring ourselves, showcasing ourselves, letting the general public see us so that we knew that our payday was coming from what came of the television, meaning that we were going to be prepared for our performance by going to these towns and so on and so forth, meaning that when we were viewed, we realized it didn't matter how old the tape was. And, for example, in the Mid-South territory, Bill Watson, I knew that it was bicycled on a 6-week delay. So what we did in week 1, it meant we might go to a town and be on week 5 and 6. And what that means is that actually for every TV that we did, we were expecting a payday out of the viewing of that particular program. A lot of people don't realize, but that we didn't sign off on any likeness or to be exploited as we've been exploited with the WWE. Now, I understand that a gentleman told a guy that was in ECW that part of Paul Heyman's package to the WWE was he had promised Vince that he had every signature of every guy. And now when this broke loose, this guy particularly contacted me, as a lot of other people are, Dobashi and Abdullah, wondering where their money is to their royalties. And I'm not just talking about the big superstars, but I'm talking about the enhancement talent, the referees and the ring announcers that have been exploited time and time again through the selling of these DVDs, not only nationally but internationally, and not only that, through the WWE network. We all agree that Vince bought the libraries, but he actually didn't have signage for the content of the tapes. Meaning for me, and I'm sure Abdullah feels the same, and all these other wrestlers, meaning Vince could show it at his house anytime he wanted and enjoyed the hard work that we did. But for him to market the tape and to sell it, that meant because we did it as an infomercial, meaning that we realized that every time that tape was being seen, that we were going to get paid for that particular instance. Now, with that being said, I spoke with C. Scott Ammon some time ago, as a matter of fact, 2 or 3 months ago, who, in searching, found out that that's the vice president of business for the WWE brand. And he explained to me that Vince had paid a high amount of money for these libraries. And I said, that's exactly right, but the problem of it is he does not have my likeness nor my signature, and he's stealing off me and exploiting me and my intellectual property as my matches that were taking place. And Mr. Abdullah the Butcher can tell you that no one had to tell him to pull a fork out, that he did it upon his own, and the actions in his match was his own intellectual property in the particular matches that he was in, as well as me and anybody else that was back in our day, because we didn't have writers telling us what we were going to do during our match. We knew in which way we were headed, but we also knew that the harder we worked in that match, the more potential to make money from the viewing of that match. So with that all being said, Dobashi, it's clear. And I was contacted today, last night, by people from California. And I guess the entertainment world is really looking at this because they're realizing that these professional wrestlers, while they are great athletes, we also have entertained thousands upon thousands of people. And the thing about it is, it's not that Abdullah the Butcher or myself or any of these other wrestlers are just regionally known, but we're nationally and internationally known. Not only, like I said, in Japan, for instance, but also Israel, Egypt, all over the world where people wouldn't realize, where baseball might not be something big or American football might not be something big, but professional wrestling definitely is big. Like Ireland and places like that, I'm contacted almost on a daily basis from fans from these countries that are buying these DVDs, like I said, worldwide, and we're tired of having this slave master and slave mentality of, oh boy, don't you think you ought to just be nice that Vince McMahon was kind enough to put you on a DVD? And we have the slave mentality of, oh yeah, we're just thankful we're on that DVD. No, it's not that way any longer. We're no longer the slaves, and he's no longer the slave master. This is 2015, and we want what we got coming to us. We're tired of being exploited, and it's high time for Vince McMahon and the WWE to pay. Do you realize this, Dobashi? The example that when Vince McMahon loses, that Daniel Bryan, The Undertaker, and all these other wrestling superstars of the day still want their check. Well, do you realize from the hard work of Abdullah the Butcher, myself, and the countless and countless of others that have suffered with our jeopardizing our lives getting to those events, not to mention losing families and our health, making these different podcasts he is utilizing to exploit us, but also realizing that when he ain't got enough to pay these guys because they're paying to have empty arenas, not only nationwide but worldwide, he's got to come up with that money from somebody. So I think that he picks up that DVD, Mid-South DVD he sold to me. He's got a few give people Minor, The Undertaker, or some of these other superstars of this very day and pay them. So off our sweat and our hard work is we're still being treated like slaves. And we're sick and tired of it. We're ready to kick back. We've asked them to play and play nicely, which is reasonable people. Go on and go on. Back in the
Bobby,
early
you're
90s.
cutting out. You're cutting out, Bobby.
Okay, here's the deal. I'm in the middle of nowhere driving, and
the main part about it, what Bobby's trying to say, we've been ripped off for a long time, and it's time for us to start getting paid. Hello?
Yes. Are you still there? You still there? Abdullah?
Yes.
Abdullah?
Yes.
Okay. We lost Bobby. Okay. I got you. Okay, I got a question for you. Now, when you did the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony, when you're inducted, did you sign any kind of WWE Hall of Fame Legends deal?
I signed just for the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Now, that being said, are you getting paid any royalties?
Nothing. Not even a dime. Not a dime.
Okay.
Sorry, listeners. Due to severe weather and Bobby Fulton on the road in the middle of nowhere driving in the boondocks, we had lost contact. So I'm going to go ahead and play our ads, and I'll come back with Bobby Fulton and Abdullah the Butcher.
Did you know you could support this podcast by going to radiotakedown.com and click on the Amazon link? It's easy to do. See, when you go to our website, radiotakedown.com, and go to the Amazon link and buy your stuff, this podcast gets a kickback, and it will help keep this podcast free to you listeners. The best thing about it, it doesn't cost you any more money to do it. So please, go to radiotakedown.com, hit the Amazon link to buy your stuff. There's even an Amazon Canada and an Amazon UK. Thank you for all your support, and that's radiotakedown.com. To be a lion, you must train with lions. Go see Professor Michael Proctor at the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy of Tacoma. For more information, go to 253bjj.com or call 253-426-8197.
We are back with Abdullah the Butcher and Bobby Fulton. And before we got cut off, the last question, Abdullah, so you could finish it. We'll get back to Bobby. That you said that you signed that one-day thing when you were in the WWE Hall of Fame. And like I said, I was at some department stores, And matter of fact, I posted on Facebook where WWE has a doll of you. Have you received any royalties on that doll?
No, I have no, because they paid me outright, and that was it. I get no royalties. I get nothing on that.
Oh, okay.
So but the main part about it is here. All these wrestlers who've been wrestling and driving down these roads 500 miles and farther, and all will be done, and we should be getting royalties, you understand, from all those tapes what Vince McMahon made. Who else has got tapes of ours? They should give us royalties. And what I hear, some of the guys are getting paid, but about 99% of us are not getting paid. And the main thing about it is when a wrestler who went on TV, who was a job man, and we used to beat him up and stuff like that, he got $10 and no more. That's it. Okay, so we should be paid.
Now, are you still there, Bobby?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay. Hey, I got this email. Someone tweeted me real quick, and it was to you, Bobby. It's from Tom Johnson from Marietta, Georgia.
Yep.
And he asked, Bobby Fulton, Bob Cook is going on social media saying pretty much that you're crazy for thinking you are entitled to royalties. Don't get me wrong. I am on your side, Mr. Fulton. Do you think Mr. Cook is entitled to some royalties? Also, why do you think he is talking against you about this situation?
Well, when he first made a couple of statements, I called Bob and I asked him. Bob said, man, I'm just having some fun with this, Bobby. He said, I don't care. I don't want no money for nothing. I said, but Bob, I tell you what, the problem with your joking, I said, people think you're serious. And I think the problem with Bob Cook is that he's had a lot of things happen in his life. Perhaps one thing is when Jody Malenko and Dean Malenko and the Malenkos was training him, maybe Carl Gotchen went in and German suplexed him a few times on the back of his head. Now, the thing that it is, don't you think, Dobashi, for 1 minute, that if found out that we were getting money, Bob Cook would be one of the gentlemen in line? Because as Butcher said, even the enhancement guys is being utilized and being put on these tapes and put on these different shows and stuff like that. They should be subject to payment too. And the problem of it is, nobody's asking for millions of dollars. We're just asking for a fair share. Now, with that being said about Bob Johnson, I'm not going to name the guys. I'm not going to name the guys that I know that's getting money, but I will tell you this. One gentleman told me that he's never really done work for WWE, but he gets a royalty check for $10,000. And if it's all said and done, I'm going to tell everything I know. And he said it's for a Stone Cold Steve Austin video. And he said he's glad to get the check. And when it goes down and the units are sold, then I guess he gets another $10,000. There's many other wrestlers that's getting, and one wrestler I also know, he gets a royalty check, but his lawyer told him, said, well, when Vince started sending it to you, you accepted it, so that was just considered, well, you're happy with that agreement. You see what I'm saying?
So is it a one-time deal, was the checks?
No. They're different times as the product's sold.
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Now, some guys have signed contracts, and a part of these Legends contracts, like, say, for example, where for the one-time price, their likeness is being utilized for, for whatever in the future. But for those of us that hasn't signed those, we are being ripped off because, and here's what the deal is, it's like shoe fly, you don't really matter. But it's funny, if we're put on these DVDs marketed on that WWE network, we're just like any entertainer. If we're out there in the forefront being used by his company, then we should be paid accordingly. And the reason why I say that is that every other field, when people are being utilized, they're being paid. And I had someone ask me a while ago, said, why didn't you sign for royalties back in the day? Well, that wasn't on the table back then, but also we didn't sign away our likenesses or our images or our names or anything else. So what it seems to me like, it's a time of negotiation now. And that's when I called the WWE to negotiate, and therefore I asked them to come to the table, and of course they said, well, yeah, we'll think about it. And it was like, just go away. They're hoping I go away. But I'm going to be like a little dog. I'm going to be biting on the ankle of the big dog and let them know that I'm here now. In reference one more time to Bob Cook. You see, Bob Cook did jobs in Florida. He did jobs in all other areas. And I asked him, I said, well, now let me ask you something, Bob. Should you pay Bill Eadie a royalty for stealing his gimmick and using it on these independent shows? I mean, if we get down where the nitty-gritty is, it's just like Abdullah the Butcher says. When I go to the NBA basketball game last week, I don't set up a camera and start selling off DVDs. And the guy at High Spots, Michael Pachucchio, told me he's having that problem now, where some WWE guys and stuff that he videotaped when they were younger are now coming to him saying, hey, Mike, I never signed off on that. So this is going to open up a whole can of worms in the wrestling industry. And the problem of it is, if Vince wants to play the game, he just can't play it one-sided. He's got to play it all the way or don't play it whatsoever. You understand what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. That's right. Okay, I got another email for both of you guys. Tanner Rip from Cheyenne, Wyoming says, I'm a longtime fan. Abdullah and Mr. Bobby Fulton, are you pursuing this royalty campaign to take out the WWE, or are you doing it on principle because you and many others have worked their tails off to pave the way?
I'm doing it on principle. It doesn't matter if it's the WWE or whatever. It's the principle of it. And it's just like I said, they kick us away like we're small dogs, that we don't matter. That's why I'm nipping at their heels. Now, I explain to people that I've been contacted by different law firms and this and that that's interested in handling this case. And the reason being is that they understand our plight also. And it's not just for Abdullah the Butcher. It's not just for Bobby Fulton. But it's for each and every one of us, whether they're the announcer, whether they're the referee. And I will add this. I've been contacted behind the scenes by some very influential announcers throughout the years that also feel that they've been exploited by Vince McMahon. Some has passed on, and it's those particular people's heirs and family members. And not only that, with referees also that are coming now and saying, hey, why is he doing this with our father? Why aren't we getting anything? So this is no attack on WWE. This is for the principle of what's happening.
Yes. You still there, Abdullah?
Yes. Your main thing is this here. We've been getting ripped off for so long, you understand? And a lot of guys did not say nothing because they figured that maybe that they could get a job with Vince McMahon or whatever. You see what I mean?
That's the hope.
But you see, but there's a lot of people out there who wrestle and they're gone, they're dead, and their wives ain't got nothing. You understand?
That's right.
There's a lot of them out there. Their wives who with their husbands wrestled for many, many years, and all the royalties, they're not getting a dime for nothing. You understand?
And it's like you said, too, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but one day at this, Abdullah, even some of them abuse their bodies so much, making these DVDs and stuff, that they're unable to hold down a decent job today when they're in their 50 and stuff because they're not able to carry out the task at hand. Some can't even barely walk. I'm going to tell you something. They show that picture, Sally Struthers does, and these people, these foreign people that are starving to death and skinning and this and that. I want to tell you, it's a downright dirty shame of how these professional wrestlers have been done over the years. And I mean, it's high time to change things in 2015. And here's the thing. It's like Butcher said, these wives now are trying to take care of these husbands that are beat up and battered and brittled and beaten, that can't hardly get around. And not only that, and also, if you know what, guys, if I went and got jacked up on a bunch of heroin, on a bunch of drugs, not to mention any steroids, and I'm not saying anybody's on them that I can see, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Vince will pay up to $30,000, Abdullah, for anybody that has a drug, substance abuse problem. If you've been in professional wrestling, you can call up there, and they'll be more than happy to put you in a program. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
You're penalized because you're not a drug addict and you worked hard your whole life and not a drunk. You're penalized because you're not able to get your royalties. Meanwhile, these other people that have decided that they want to drink, they want to do drugs and stuff like that, they've given they're given opportunity to be paid, and some of them has went through those programs a couple of times and they come out and they're back in the same position they were. Dobashi and Abdullah knows we want our fair share. We want what's coming to us. Chuck Berry fought for after Chuck Berry, the entertainer, the musician, fought for 50 years to get his. Sly Stone of Sly and the Family Stone finally recently got his $5 million. Bela Lugosi Jr. become an attorney because he was sick and tired of Universal Pictures exploiting his father, Bela Lugosi. And also the other gentleman that played Frankenstein. Now those families still to this day, whenever Universal Pictures sells their likeness or license their likeness, they get a piece of the pie. That's what we want from Vince McMahon as he sits in his palatial mansion, spending all this money frivolously on his wife's runs, the political runs, spending millions and millions and millions of dollars also on these offshoot businesses, whether it was at the XFL or the WBF many, many years ago. It's high time Vince McMahon came off his high horse and paid up these wrestlers. Now, hey, if you've never taken a bump, if you've never put a blade to your head, if you've never had to drive 500 miles in 6 hours, then you can't begin to understand where we're coming from. If you've never been asked to fall off a scaffold high above a ring without a net, then you don't understand how we feel and where we're at today. Until you walk the step in our shoes, Dobashi, they'll never be able to understand. When the promoter asks us to do something, we put our lives in jeopardy. I'm going to tell you something.
Bobby, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bobby, can I say something?
Yes,
you
sir.
See, number one, Jim Barnett used to jump up and say this here. The guys used to say, oh, Jim Barnett is this. And then all of a sudden somebody else will speak up and say, yeah, but the whores know what they're getting. The wrestlers, when they go out, they don't know what they're getting. Sometimes they might get $20, $25, or $50, or they don't know what they're getting.
Yes.
So they've been using us for many years, and using us to their advantage.
Yes. And even the guys in the WWE today, they're telling me they're just barely able to survive on the road. Now here's the thing, Dobashi. They're not talking much about the wrestling product today in the world. Not like they talked about the product from the 80s and 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's not being talked about. It's not being followed like it one time was. How many people do you think will talk about the wrestlers of the day 20 to 30 years ago like they remember Abdullah the Butcher, like they remember all these other wrestling superstars that's been exploited and continue to be exploited for the sake of whoever's selling the tapes It's time for them, like I said, I know I sound like a broken record, but I can't say it anymore. People in Hollywood and places like that, and all these different athletes and all these different organizations, they would be appalled over how we've been treated. And we continue to be. That's why I talk about that slave master mentality and that slave mentality.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, and then if the promoter, and then if you were late or you couldn't get to a place, you understand? The promoters used us to their advantage because you had no other place to work, or they would call the other promoter and say, don't use him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal, Abdullah. Some wrestlers from our day are worried and not saying nothing. They know they want it and they need their money from Vince, but they're hoping that Vince will put them in the Hall of Fame. Some wrestlers are looking for one more run from Vince. Afraid, well, you know, we had that mentality, like you said, Abdullah. It was mind over matter. If we didn't mind, then we wouldn't matter. But it's a whole new day now. It's a whole new day now. It's time to take a stand. We're sick and tired of it, and we're not taking it anymore.
Now,
and for the fans that watched us, that enjoyed the matches, we loved it. It was from within us that we did what we did. It was a part of us. We love doing it, but we also love the ideal of being compensated for what we did.
That's right.
Now, when you're saying, you know, like, all the wrestlers that put their bodies in line, and Abdullah, that being said, with your current situation, this is an email to you from Susan Ryan from Sacramento, California. Abdullah, are you ever planning to get back into the ring? If so, when?
As soon as I get my hip done, I will be back. I'll be back, and I'll be promoting with Bobby Fulton.
How long do you think that's going to be? I know you've been working on that on a while. Is it getting pretty close?
It's close, real close. Believe me, real close.
Nice.
It's real close. But the main part, you know what gets me? The main part about it is here. What we're talking about is this. You understand? Wrestlers, if they get sick or if they whatever, a lot of them don't have insurance.
Correct.
And a long time ago, wrestlers did not have insurance. If they got hurt or if they got this hurt, they had to pay it themselves. You understand? Mm-hmm. You see, so if you go all the way back and check it out, you know what I mean? A promoter give you what he wanted to give you. If there was a big house there, he might give you $50 or $100. You see, a lot of people don't know what wrestlers really made. So remember that. Promoters use the wrestlers like they were dogs or rats. You understand?
But it's like Abdullah said. If you didn't mind, there was many wrestlers that got blackballed, meaning that you couldn't get booked nowhere.
Now explain to the people how can you get blackballed in the industry like that, so the fans, the listeners would know.
Yeah. By standing up. There was a lot of wrestlers that got blackballed throughout the years, and there's a couple I'm thinking of that right now, but I'm not going to say that he knows. They know they were blackballed. I just seen the guy a couple of months ago. He said, "Man, I was blackballed for a while. I couldn't get a job anywhere, and he was a tremendous mind and a great talent. And you know him real well, Dobashi. He could not get a job anywhere. It's because he takes a stand for himself. And says, man, I ain't been treated right." Now, you remember the free bird, Buddy Roberts?
Yes.
He told me, he said, "Bobby, I have a great year." And he said, "I'll spend the next 2 years spending it trying to stay in the wrestling business." Now, here's the problem. If a guy was to get draws and stuff like that, the promoter figured he might be broken. I know we're getting off subject of where we're at today. And then that way the promoter wouldn't pay him very much money because he figured, well, he's broke. Or they wanted to keep you around, not make you enough money, to get you out of there. But with all that being said, and Abdullah is very true, and I mean, I respect Abdullah with all of my heart, and no one knows the wrestling business. I just talked with a guy yesterday. There's been no man in the world of professional wrestling that has been over and drew big money like Abdullah the Butcher in so many different places. When the country was broken up in regional territories, when they needed to bust their business open and draw money, they would bring Abdullah the Butcher in. The same thing with, I was with him in Israel, and him and Bruiser Brody drew big houses. In Japan, he's a household name after going over there for 40 years or 50 years, I'm not for sure. But what I'm saying all that, to say this, that this man, Abdullah the Butcher, deserves all the respect in the world, and when he speaks, people need to listen to him. He's not a pushover, he's a self-made man, he's a proven product, in which, as he said, the promoter knew if he wanted to make money, then he needed to call on Abdullah the Butcher, and they did. And now he's saying he don't want to be exploited any longer by anybody, especially with these tapes that he's made over these many years and how he's being abused.
Amen.
Being abused, everybody steals from us. Everybody. Everybody steals. Okay, what else we got to say?
Well, we're starting to run out of time here, and I would love for you guys to have the last word, so anything you want to get out. And I want to actually say you can find Abdullah the Butcher on Facebook as Abdullah the one-word Butcher, and we have Bobby Fulton. Also, we have Abdullah's charity, Flowers While They Live, on Facebook also. So any last words, gentlemen?
Let me say this. The other day, somebody jumped on Abdullah the Butcher on my Facebook page or said something smart or they thought was cute about him. But Atlanta Falcon football player came out, and I think you might have seen that in Dobashi, and explained that Mr. Abdullah the Butcher bends over backwards to help people in all different situations. And when no one else thinks about him, Abdullah the Butcher thinks about him and tries to help him. And I just want to say that to these people that don't understand anything about respecting human beings. I just will say this at the end. For all those naysayers that say that we don't deserve the money that we got coming to us, I don't hate nobody. I don't even hate Vince McMahon. I'm not jealous of him because, listen, I wouldn't want to be in his predicament. But here's all I'm saying is haters will always hate, and I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. And I will say this, because I am a Christian and I make no apology about it, I only want what I've got coming to me, and I'm speaking for not only me, but for those without a voice. Thank you, Dobashi.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. And how about you, Abdullah? Any last words?
I want to say this. Remember this.
Well, I can't hear you. Speak, Abdullah.
All the wrestlers who's been on those tapes and they've been selling their tapes or whatever, speak up and come forward. Yes. Call Bobby Fulton or call you, okay?
Oh, yeah, you could. Yes. If you can't reach these two guys, you could always email me at radiotakedown.com. Go to radiotakedown.com or email me at radiotakedown@gmail.com, and I could forward the messages, and we could fight the fight.
Right, and remember this. Flowers, why you live, why they live.
Yep.
By Queen
Flowers
Malika.
While They Live.
Right, by Queen Malika. All right, my friend, take care.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for paving the way for myself and others. Be nice to others. Believe me, it works wonders. And Jill Hundibi, love you. I'm ready for that salmon dinner. And we will see you next time on
Dobashi's Talk Show. No, Dobashi's Radio.